This show is brought to you by Nice Mug. Nice Mug is the only mug made entirely out of ice. For more information, go to nicemug.com and enter the coupon code SAUNA for 10% off your entire purchase. Hey everybody, another installment of Sauna Talk here. Today on the bench we're joined with Scott Raisanen. And Scott, he's the commercial sales manager at Tylo Helo. They're in Cokato, Minnesota, and pretty much any sauna stove in North America, with a few exceptions, comes through Cokato, Minnesota. It was a cold Minnesota winter's evening when we gathered in my backyard sauna, and we got started right away talking about the cold and ice hockey, and sorted out some beers for the night, different beers that we had brewing on the bench. In my changing room, it's kind of interesting because a typical Minnesota day, it could be 0, 10 below, and a balmy 20. So one of the ways I keep beers from freezing is in my changing room, there's also stairs to go to the loft above the garage. And so I'll move beers up the stairs depending on how cold it is. And that's how I manage beer temperature. So that's what that context was all about. So please stay with us for this chat. It's long. We get going. And Scott lives and breathes sauna building. On a commercial side, he's done plenty of residential sauna building. And though he grew up with sauna, Scott landed in Finland on his 20th birthday and got seasoned to sauna in the old country. Then came back to America, and now at commercial, as the commercial sales manager for Tylo Helo, Scott has seen his fair share of saunas. As he says, if you don't have a good sauna heater, you don't have a good sauna. And he says, I've walked away from sales because it wasn't done correctly. We talk about a kick-ass sauna and how to do that, how to get your own sauna, how to build your sauna, how to go about purchasing a sauna. And we chat about some other fun things like at the lake, never lock your sauna building. It's good karma to have a sauna ready just in case someone runs into problems on the lake, slush, snowmobiles, skiing, what have you. It's really nice to see on a lake in wintertime, saunas dotting the shoreline. They're a warm welcome feeling just to know they're there. In sauna building, there's the 2-foot wide sauna door, what that's all about, and why that's a good size. And the 612 Sauna Society, bringing sauna to unexpected places in Minneapolis this past winter. The ultimate mobile sauna, built on a trailer where the wheels can tuck up underneath, allowing the sauna to sit on grade. Lightweight, pick it up and go. And could sauna become as popular as Coldplay? We tread down the infrared line of thinking, and also cleaning a sauna, a product that Scott was kind enough to give to me that I've been using, a little dab and bucket of warm water. Scott references the Bodhi Spa in Newport, Rhode Island, a place I'd like to visit in the growing installment of Sauna Travel within Sauna Times. And what else? There's a lot in here. So thanks for listening to this episode of Sauna Talk. It's just been a great pleasure to get to know Scott. He'll call me on his way home. He works out in Cokato, Minnesota, which is out west, about an hour from the Twin Cities. A nice rural drive, and oftentimes he'll give me a call as he's heading back home, and we'll get going and we'll chat for pretty much the whole time it takes for him to drive from his office to his driveway. And it's kind of dangerous when you get a couple people together that can talk sauna for that long, but you'll get it here. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn this over. And keep in mind, as you may be listening to this, it could be a warm summer day. I have a bunch of these podcasts that I'm going to be releasing. So the context of this one is it was cold, but that's okay. Because you may be listening to this in sandals and a t-shirt, but it won't be long till we'll be waxing up our cross-country skis and lacing up our ice skates and heading back out while the sauna idles. So with this episode of Sauna Talk, I want to thank you for listening and be in touch soon. Hola, come in. Scott.
Sorry I'm late.
No, you were not late at all. As a matter of fact, it worked out perfect.
All right.
And I'd love to say it's 180 in there, but it's climbing.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. A good timing. So this is what I do. I put my beers, as it gets cold, I move them up the stairs.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
You'll probably have one, right?
Yeah, I brought a few. I don't know if you've ever had Cokato. It's a Canadian beer.
No, I'd love to try them. Take a look at this selection. Pilsner Urquell. I got Finnegan's Sampler. That's brewed by Summit, or just the Molson Canadian in that spirit. Any of these flavors?
Molson, actually, haven't had one of those in a while.
I'll grab a couple of these. Yeah, glad this worked out. Oh, and you know what? I gotta prep a couple nice mugs for us too.
You can show me the way.
Yeah. I got.
I don't know if you want to add these to your collection. Is this?
Oh, you can put them right. Yeah, we got cold everywhere, so I think we'll be good. I got a couple of nice mugs right over here. Matter of fact, I made a whole batch for. I'm building inventory.
Okay.
Look at that, huh?
Wow.
It's easy to make them this time of year. It's kind of fun to make them outside.
Do they?
Look at they hold up. Isn't that something?
Do they stay? Do they stay pretty well? Probably better outdoors than in a freezer.
I'll show you my setup right here. I got like a little production center in the garage here. The best way to make nice mugs is, you fill the molds, and ideally, if you insulate the mold with a wool sock or even like a bubble wrap or something.
Sure.
If you put them in a conventional freezer.
Okay.
And the theory there is like skating on an outdoor lake. Ice forms from the top down, crystal clear, like these right here.
Yep.
So then, 24 hours in the freezer, then take it out, and the other key trick is to sit it on the counter for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let it set up naturally.
Sure.
When the outside's wet,
Yep.
then you could pour a little water on the inside, and it'll release from the mold really easily.
Okay.
Then you're ready for action.
Okay. So rushing it was my problem that probably, I mean, just like if you I don't know, anything with ice or even the wrong piece of glass, if you
the thermal
if,
shock and
if
all.
you had a really hot glass and
Yeah.
grew it.
I love the hat, by the way. It's such a classic.
Yeah.
Is it old school or is it new, made to look old school?
It's new, made to look old. I think I got it at TJ Maxx, so the price was right. I didn't have to pay too much for nowadays when you want it to look old, they charge you twice as much. So
it'd be kind of funny is if the Minnesota North Star gear actually sold better than the Minnesota Wild gear.
I think it would if they let it, but I don't think that. I want to say that Dallas owns it still.
Oh, wouldn't that suck?
And I think that's. I mean, the ultimate would be, and it'll be interesting if they do it, but I doubt they will for the outdoor game for the alumni.
Oh, right.
If they wore North Star stuff, I think they could.
That would be an interesting thing. Are they going to wear Wild stuff? That's such an interesting thing. I don't know.
Maybe they'll wear Wild stuff, but North Star's colors. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. But you know how I think they solved that problem is I remember recently they had Mikko Koivu and Suter wearing the official outdoor garb, and I think it was neutralized a little bit.
Yeah.
So they have a whole new jersey for this.
Yeah. Well, and that's
somebody thought of that.
They're gonna sell more product. I imagine. Yeah.
I know. So let's go in. You want to go in?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we're ready. We'll ride it up. It's certainly not good serving temperature, but it's getting there by the minute. I toned it down. Like sometimes I'll light the fire, and then I'll when I got a good flame going, I'll tone it down, and let it, just percolate for a while. But
Sure.
I think I brought it down a little too soon because it hasn't burned much wood yet.
Yeah.
So that means there's not a lot of BTU going. And did you grow up in Minnesota?
Yep. Yep.
In Cokato area?
Yeah, I it was maybe in the metro area till I was maybe, I want to say 4.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, my mom grew up in Cokato and we ended up moving back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care if I
don't care. You want to nude up?
Yeah.
I think that's good. It's pretty dark out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you moved to Cokato at what age?
I was probably 3 or 4.
Yeah. Grab. You know what I want to grab? Do you want some water?
Yeah.
I got a nice jug of water. Hang on, I got it right out here. And then I'm gonna bring in that microphone, and you grab the clipboard, just in case. And then see if we can get this underneath here. There. I think we're good now. Let's try. Is it in? All right. So, how old were you when you lived in Finland?
I turned 20 the day I landed in Finland.
Oh, perfect. Great. And that's some neat synchronicity in a way, because I was that age when I was in Scandinavia, actually 21. And then this John Pedersen, 612 Sauna Society.
Yeah.
I think he was exactly 20 when he went abroad.
Okay.
To Finland.
Okay.
And his story is a famous one that where he was picked up from the airport and brought directly to sauna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's talk about diving in.
That's right.
Right off the plane. And
yeah. And how long were you in Finland?
I was there for nearly a year.
Yeah.
It was like 11 months and change.
I can tell you actually immersed yourself because you actually know some Finnish. I've heard you say some Finnish words.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call myself fluent. That's my family background. My great-grandparents came from Finland. It's part of my heritage. Unfortunately, the language wasn't really passed on.
Sure,
pretty
never
typical American
I know.
thing.
Well, to that point, my mother is 100% Italian, and she grew up in a house. Her parents came over at a young age, and so my mother's parents never wanted to speak Italian, and never actually even wanted to acknowledge the Italian heritage.
Sure.
Because they were the Italians were the new immigrants, and
right.
It was all about being American.
Right.
So,
So yeah, and then obviously due to the Finnish background, I would say that sauna was just part of my. I mean, I was probably sitting in a baby bath on one of the benches in the sauna with my grandfather when I was probably, could hardly walk.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of part of the culture, I think, or part of my upbringing. I think I didn't realize how lucky I was until quite a bit later in life. Of just the sauna was just there. I didn't really think much about it. It was just part of how I was raised. So
during your childhood, how frequently would you sauna?
It's hard to put a number on it, but I would say probably probably it worked out to be once a week. For surely when I'd go to my grandparents' house, a lot of my aunts and uncles had sauna. So
yeah, for sure. That's great. So let's talk about sauna stoves. We'll dive into a few heavy topics here real quick and see how long we last in our first sauna.
Sure.
And I'm not going to put you on a pedestal, Scott, but I would say that if anybody knows about sauna stoves in the world, you know, if you put everybody that knows a lot about sauna stoves together in a room, I mean, the room would not fill up. Maybe it would fill up. I mean, if you include a bunch of Finlanders that are in the industry.
Yeah, probably if you went to Finland, yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. But and you've told me a little bit about sauna stoves and the companies and who bought who and who started where. But like, what would you say if you ran into somebody in a taxi cab and you know you were on your way and you only had like 10 minutes to get to the airport or whatever, and someone said, God, what is it about sauna stoves and who made them and who's selling them today? Can you give us a quick little summary as you know it?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think, you really, it goes back to Finland when you look at really any of the major market sauna stoves. They're all made in either Finland or one of the Nordic countries, be that Sweden. I think if you look within Europe, there may be some more what you might call a common or well-known brand, from Germany, maybe even Italy.
Mm-hmm.
But as we know it here in North America, the quality stoves are primarily made in Finland. That's where the majority of our stoves are manufactured.
And for the listeners, when you say our stoves, maybe we should just dive into that. Tell us who you work for and what your company does.
Sure. Helo is the name of the parent company, and the parent company owns or we have many brands that we sell. Here in North America, the most popular are going to be Finleo, Helo, Polar, and Tylo, or depending, that's the Swedish brand that we sell.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of the main ones that you're going to see, and Helo, Finleo, and the Polar heaters are manufactured in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tylo brand is made in Sweden.
Did Tylo buy Helo?
I believe Helo acquired Tylo.
Okay, this sounds almost like a comedy show.
Yeah.
Did Tylo buy Helo? But I draw the analogy to the auto industry, where there's multiple brands under one roof, like Chevy, Chrysler, Plymouth, what have you.
Sure.
And then there's an acquisition within brands.
Sure.
So you mentioned these four main brands, and they are all inventoried in Cokato, Minnesota.
Yes.
Under the Tylo Helo North America distribution arm.
Yep. So the oddly enough, in small town Minnesota, Cokato, the North American headquarters for Tylo Helo, this worldwide sauna company, very prominent company if you look at it worldwide, and the North American headquarters are in small town Cokato, Minnesota.
Okay, and tell us about the distribution system in North America. How you guys go to market with
Sure.
the saunas?
Yeah, the different brands, are sold in different methods, primarily through dealer networks. As you know, the sauna industry as a whole is it's a pretty basic room, but it's not something that everybody knows about. So the dealers are going to help the end user, the homeowner, understand that product better and help them, pick out the right sauna product for their needs.
So I'm gonna list for you. I'm gonna name a city, and I know that you in your day to day are that you're not involved with dealers particularly with your job, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But hypothetically, if I lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and Googled, sauna distributor or sauna seller, would I find one of your dealers within a fair radius of Baltimore, Maryland?
Yeah. I mean, you can. I think if you're doing it, the internet's a funny thing. If you just Google search, you could get quite a variety. Be that an online retailer selling traditional saunas, or I know you don't like them, infrared saunas. All those things could pop up.
You mean infrared closets? But forget all that. So the hypothetical works though. There's somewhere in Baltimore area. There's probably a pool and spa guy who is a Tylo Helo dealer.
Right. Yeah. So the best way would be to start with our websites. So if you're on let's take the Finleo.com website as an example. You'd go to Finleo.com and there's a dealer finder. So you just punch in your zip code, as simple as that, and then it's going to propagate onto the map and show you exactly where the nearest dealer or dealers are, so the consumer can shop that around.
But the interesting thing, not to get too analytical with you in this hypothetical, but if I lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and I wanted a sauna, and I elected a Tylo stove and maybe a kit from a dealer locally, if you were to follow that stove, it would go from Scandinavia, probably on a ship, over to the United States, onto a container, over to Cokato, and then distributed from there to the dealer in Baltimore.
Sure.
And then into my backyard.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's actually, if you don't mind, okay, so anything more about this sauna stove car industry analogy? You mentioned 4 main brands. Is there anything more that comes to mind when you are asked in this taxi cab about sauna stoves?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing to putting brands aside, a big thing that I think, or a very important thing when it comes to sauna stoves, is that's really will make or break your sauna. If you don't have a good sauna heater, you don't have a good sauna as far as I'm concerned. So the big thing with any of our brands, you're going to find that to the true sauna fashion, particularly obviously Finland being the most well known, the focus is going to be on a fair amount of rock capacity in that stove, because you want to be heated with the stone rather than the elements. The elements, if you're just heating by the elements, you're going to get that toaster oven feeling.
Right.
And if you decide, to sprinkle water on just elements, it's going to be a very abrupt and flash steam. It's not going to be very enjoyable. So again, with our heaters, the main idea, and I would say that in general throughout Europe, their focus is large rock capacity. In general, your average size sauna heater, or for most home saunas, is probably going to be, somewhere in that 4.5 to 8 kilowatt range, which is going to be a wall heater in most cases, unless you go very specialty.
So you're on the electric path, stove path.
Yep. On the electric, that's the most common heater sold. But the majority of our wall heaters are going to hold about 50 pounds of rock. You may find some American-made sauna heaters that have only 20 pounds. It's in like a little tray on top.
And then you may have some Chinese manufacturers that have 10 pounds.
Well, I would say that
I was throwing a joke out there.
that or they a lot of the Chinese heaters don't come with rocks. They're just kind of...
And they come off the same production line as the toaster oven.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Now, is it a fair thing to say that a sauna stove that runs off 110 is not a sauna stove?
I would say that you are limited by going to 110. We do sell a model that can be powered by 110, but your room better be quite small. Basically, a 4x4 room is kind of your limitation. Anything bigger, you're going to want to bump up to 240, and even in that 4x4 room, if high heat is your main concern, it's in your best interest to go to 240 if you have it. But in a 4x4 sauna with the 120 volt heater, you're going to get about 160 in that small of a room. You know, when you splash the water on the rocks, it is going to be a decent sauna. It's not going to be the hottest sauna, I'll assure you that. But if heat is your main concern, 240 is definitely your best option.
So as a starter sauna, for one that may be in a flat in New York City or what have you, and doesn't want to call the landlord and run a 240 line, getting in a small two person with a 110 heater, hey, it's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, huh?
Right.
Yeah, it's a starter sauna.
Right.
I mean, 165 is not the end of the world.
Right.
Yeah. So another question, you're speaking about the electric stoves, and just hypothetically, if 50 stoves go out the door of Cokato, Minnesota, how many of those are electric compared to wood burning?
I don't know numbers, but I would say that probably 75% are electric, possibly more.
Yeah.
It really, the electric stove is, I would venture to even say that might be your number in a lot of Europe.
8 out of 10.
I would say.
Whether you're in Germany, Finland, or
I would.
Minnesota.
I can't speak hard numbers for Europe, but I the majority of the saunas that I went into were electric. It's always a treat to have that wood stove, but it's a matter of, I think, a combination of a number of things, likely convenience, and it's easier to, from a safety perspective, to regulate electricity as far as how hot it can get. If you have a wood stove, if you have the right wood, you can really get it hot if you want. It's just
we got it going pretty good in here right now.
Yeah.
Do you like the temp?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a good start.
It's a good start, and that's what we were gunning for. I didn't want to burn you out here. We want to get some sauna talk under our belt.
Right.
But what would you say the temperature is outside?
I think my car said like -2 when I left the house, so I'm gonna say it's somewhere in the 0 to cold.
0 to cold. That's good. Let's talk about. I think that's a good summary on the stoves, right?
Yeah. I mean, just a real quick recap. On the rock capacity, I think is a huge part of a quality stove. So as I had mentioned, your typical wall heater, right around that 50-pound mark, and then we do have specialty heaters, or if you get into a floor standing 10 kilowatt or larger, which you commonly find in a commercial application, but if you do a large enough sauna in your home, you can go that direction. You're talking upward of 100 pounds, and some of our specialty heaters are going to be double that at 200 pounds, which you're really going to get a great steam and wonderful soothing heat off of those rocks.
Right. We could kind of go down a rabbit hole about whether you yourself can tell, like if you were blindfolded and brought into a sauna, right, and sat down on the bench, could you tell the difference between a sauna that's fired by a wood burning stove compared to an electric sauna stove?
I think so. I mean, how blind is it? I mean, are we going to be hearing the the crackling or
well, say
there's so many different elements
but just the feel. I guess where I was going with the
yeah.
hypothetical. Can you feel the difference?
I think if you sauna long enough, I think you can. I guess I've never been asked that question. I'd be actually curious to see that study done in I don't necessarily know what it's going to prove per se.
Well, I would like to submit to the R&D department of Tylo Helo that we could set up a hypothetical
right.
and bring in folks.
Right.
We could build an identical sauna.
Yeah.
And we could have a sauna meister on site,
right.
prepping both, and we would take willing participants to this study.
And I think obviously you could argue studies until you're blue in the face and say, well, it has to be controlled, this and that. I think the next part of answer to your question is, well, what kind of electric stove are you talking about?
There you go.
Is it just run of the mill, or
maybe we're onto something here. We could have a sauna stove, competition, like and do some, a sauna. What would you say? What would you call this? A sauna bake off or something.
Sure.
And anyway, to the future. Let's talk about a day in the life for Scott. Your title is
Commercial Sales Manager
for Tylo Helo.
For Tylo Helo.
And that means that if I am a spa dealer in Durango, Colorado, or a spa owner, or a health club guy in Vancouver, Washington, or Vancouver, Canada, all of these public facilities will come to you when they call Finley or Tylo Helo.
Sure. Yes. It really, there's such a wide variety when using that term commercial, but yeah, for the most part, you're generally talking, health and wellness centers. Be that your cookie cutter gym, or something more elaborate like a day spa that offers many different amenities to could be military base or beyond that.
Sports center.
Yep. Professional sports teams. Hotels. All sorts of avenues.
Interesting. So, not to get too analytical about that, but if you were to take all of these different, and another large slice of the pie are contractors themselves, building contractors. Is that right?
Yeah. I would say that a lot of the process, there's kind of a process to it. So there's, as you can imagine, just envision, your large scale fitness center going up. Just down the road here in Minneapolis, there's going to be a process to that, starting with the design, the architect. So a lot of times I might be working with the architect from the beginning. They would contact us, say that they want a sauna incorporated into their plan. Usually want to try to start with, okay, what kind of space do you have allotted for it, and give some tips or suggestions from the beginning, and kind of help mold and shape it from there, and hope that they follow all the directions or suggestions. And then from that phase, as is with any other building project, then it oftentimes goes out to bid, and the contractors are fighting for that work.
Right.
So then they get involved and you're working with them. So it's quite a process, and guiding and trying to consult to make hopefully in the end it turns to be a good sauna. Unfortunately, a lot gets lost in translation from one group to the next.
And I would guess a lot could get lost in the cost cutting too, huh?
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be as simple as, I mean, I think sometimes I have to step back and remind myself that for as passionate as I am about a sauna and how well I understand what makes a good sauna, um, a lot of the people involved in that project don't really care other than that it looks like a sauna.
And they can tick the box.
Right. So, oftentimes it's it can get frustrating explaining this is how it should be, and then it goes to bid, and it's completely the opposite of what you explained and consulted on.
Okay, so here may be a tough question, but what are the top 2 or 3 areas where you see compromise, where you may suggest X, and invariably what ends up happening is Y, and that difference between X and Y separates what you had planned as a good sauna to what ends up being a compromised sauna? What would be the top couple of things that are shortchanged?
I would say number one by far is ceiling height.
Okay, and tell the listeners the optimal ceiling height.
Well, your optimum ceiling height is going to be 7 feet. Your highest that you're allowed per the different safety guidelines that the majority of the reputable sauna heaters are manufactured by are 8 feet. But that being said, 7 is going to be your ideal.
Okay,
and that's
ceiling height. I'm with you.
That's
I
what
I understand very well. Tell me another one.
I the ceiling height's the biggest. Beyond that, it can get. You have to be a little careful how you go about it, because the other one that becomes a challenge and can really impact a sauna, particularly a commercial sauna, is going to be ADA compliancy.
Okay.
So that is, it really depends on local code, but I think in this day and age, in this country, everybody's a little bit leery of, if we don't do this, we could get in trouble. So I think a lot of projects err on the side of, we're not sure if this is required, so we're going to provide it.
And ADA stands for?
American Disabilities Act, I believe. So basically handicap, accessibility, it in simple, it can be more complex, but generally speaking, usually you need a 5-foot turning radius. I guess a good example would be if you go to, your average store, Walmart, Target, and go to the bathroom. There's always a ADA compliant, at least one ADA compliant toilet, and that requires.
We're talking wheelchair access.
Well, the ADA, I believe, wheelchair is part of that, but it can be other disabilities as well that you're accommodating for. So you have, potentially have to provide a 5-foot turning radius. Other requirements in terms of bench heights and lengths of bench at that height. So a lower bench to accommodate that, the handicapped individual, and things as simple as doorway heights.
I was even thinking width.
Yep, that width as well. Yes.
Yeah, I like to build sauna doors with a 26-inch rough opening and a finish of about 24 for a sauna door. Some may think that's a little too narrow. I happen to like that. Less swing means less air infiltration in and out, and I don't consider a 24-inch door too tight. That's just my take.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and
especially a home setting. Your 24 by 80 I think is ideal. But yes, again, commercial. That's another scenario.
Is there a third that comes to mind? Ceiling height, ADA. Is there a third thing that you see done quite a bit in commercial saunas that makes you cringe a little bit, or tingle, or wish they didn't do, or wish they would have to?
I would say. It kind of falls into that the second item of having to potentially meet ADA. So in doing that, requiring this 5-foot turning radius and different benching, I think a lot of times the bench layout gets from a true sauna enthusiast perspective gets ruined in many ways. There's more lower benching than upper benching, and sometimes let's just use like a condo setting, say a condo that wants to have a floor dedicated with amenities such as, a fitness center, a sauna, a steam room, maybe a little pool, but they don't plan for proper space, and particularly if they require an ADA compliant sauna. So say as an example, a lot of times a condo only allots, say, 7 by 7 for a sauna space, and you need to provide a 5-foot turning radius.
Yeah.
Well, where are you going to do tiered benching?
Right
so
on.
All of a sudden, you have a 7 by 7 sauna with lower benching because you need to provide a turning radius. I mean, there are different things you can do, but you are somewhat limited. So it gets tricky.
Totally.
And as much as I understand and enjoy saunas done the right way, and I think that's maybe one of the harder parts of my job is seeing that happen. Even though I've walked away from sales because it wasn't done correctly, and it's frustrating, but I can't really blame anyone. I do what I can, and I can't blame the end user or the people involved in that process, because they just don't know. They've never experienced a proper sauna, and they just, for as much as they want to battle it out. And I think a lot of it comes down to, beyond the potential hiccups with ADA, a lot of, on the design part of it, saunas can be lost because they want it to look like every other room. Well, no, Scott, I want a 9-foot ceiling because all the other ceilings in my building are 9 feet. Well,
I was in a sauna in Las Vegas. No, where was I? No, I was actually in Vail, Colorado for a customer outing. Very nice property. The name of which I will leave out. But it was a 9-foot hot room ceiling.
Sure.
So I brought in a chair from the outside,
right,
and set it on the upper bench and sat on top of it, and I felt like the king for a day. But I got the kind of heat that was intended,
right,
in that space. So hey, a quick one on that note. So, is there, or tell us, a public sauna, or maybe not even a public sauna, a sauna that you've had your hand on over the last, maybe if you can think in recent memory, over the last couple of years, that did it right? And you can, being that this is a positive question, if you're comfortable enough to name that place, that's great. If not, we could keep that kind of off. But tell us how that worked out and why it's a kick-ass, great sauna that you're proud of, with your hand being on the design and assistance with.
Sure. I think I deal with so many saunas, it's hard to pick one out, and I think perhaps more recent ones maybe stick out instead of
right,
the one, like as you said, the kick-ass sauna. I think being a traditionalist, and really truly enjoying wood burning sauna. I can't even remember the name, but it was I want to say it's an organization that in Maine that has a number of cottages that are remote. The only way to get to them is either hiking or in the winter Nordic skiing. And for whatever reason, I can't think of what the name is, but those particular saunas that are remote and use the wood burning stove, those really those are saunas that I would really enjoy going to. I mean, remote. I'm into that sort of thing, not just wood burning saunas, but somewhere remote. More on the commercial side, or kind of mainstream, I would have to probably pick. There's a spa in Newport, Rhode Island, called the Bodhi Spa, I believe, Bodhi. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. But they offer a number of pools. So they have a cold plunge. They have kind of a medium temperature and hot temperature pools. And in addition to those pools, they offer traditional sauna, a steam bath, I believe infused by some sort of aromatherapy, and then I know Glenn's favorite, a far infrared sauna. But
how long has this facility been running? Do you know?
I believe it's been I want to say maybe a little over a year.
Okay. Is it day only, or is there lodging at this place?
It's just day only, from what I understand. I think to really top things off or go above and beyond what they've already done is, according to their website, they have what they describe as a Zen garden. It sounds, like a very peaceful place. A lot of grass behind their building that appears to be in a kind of a downtown area, but a quaint downtown area. But I think if they would add a outdoor wood burning sauna, that would be an ideal scenario.
Well, that sounds wonderful. It sounds like a beautiful spot. And I'll try to put a link to this place in Maine in the show notes for this podcast. Any other spots come to mind? I mean, are hockey rinks off the conversation table? I mean, it's exciting to me that is this true that most NHL hockey rinks will have a sauna, or not necessarily?
I would say that there's a good chance. That's not always the case. I did spend about 5 years in California, Southern California, and I was surprised that there was not a sauna in the Anaheim Ducks locker room, at least even that I was aware of.
Even with Teemu Selanne.
Yeah, I would have figured, but I think he just goes, to his house and enjoys, how he wants to.
Nice.
But I think it's definitely a growing trend. I mean, the not beyond hockey, and I think hockey's you would think it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't there be? Because there are so many Finnish or Scandinavian descent hockey players playing professionally in America, that it would seem the best interest of those teams to entice those particular players. But also colleges, Division I colleges. The Gophers have a sauna, St. Cloud State. So colleges, and then also on other pro sports avenues, the NFL has a number of saunas in their training facilities.
And you've had your hand in some of these sports stadium saunas.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there a common element that you push for with a sports stadium, like in the locker room type sauna. I mean, obviously, you like what's the number of bodies that you design for at any given time in the hot room for a locker room sauna?
Well, I would say that if you are talking like say a hockey team, you're probably dealing with potentially, I don't know, would you say once the season gets underway, 30 guys, with the overhead for injury. I wouldn't say that 30 guys are going to go in the sauna at the same time. You probably want to accommodate for, somewhere in that 10 range. And as I think you enjoy, and most avid sauna users enjoy going in rounds. So it's not like, hey, there's 30 of us, we're all going to sit here and powwow all at the same time. There's going to be a social aspect to it, and certain guys will probably want to take a sauna with certain guys, whether they're line mates or just, maybe the Finnish guys want to take a sauna together because they know how to use it, or they enjoy it the same way.
Yep, and they can speak the same language.
Right. So
so you group out. The point I think that you're making is it's a wonderful a sauna is a wonderful thing where the hot room is not too big. So I think the best saunas, arguably, are when there are more folks taking a sauna together than there are maybe seats.
Sure.
Because implicit to that is the guaranteed cool down.
Right.
And I think as you reference, anybody that is an avid sauna enthusiast is going to know that a sauna isn't just the time spent in the hot room.
Right.
Arguably and equally, it's as significant to cool down and have a space to do that.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah, in addition, the majority, I would say, on the professional level, if privy to more information beyond the scope of just the sauna room itself, you may find you'll often see showers nearby. Sometimes you're going to see the plunge, be that cold and hot. I guess a local example would be the Timberwolves new training facility.
Okay.
They have some 2 saunas and 3 steam rooms, and I should say not just the Timberwolves but also the Lynx. So in each of their training facilities, they offer cold plunge, so that the players can enjoy that experience in between rounds, be that with the sauna or the steam room.
Now, athletes are finely tuned. I mean, the margin from a conditioning standpoint from excellent to like perfection is so thin. I mean, every professional athlete is very well tuned. So the fact that a locker room facility is going to have a hot room sauna and cold plunge is, to me, just another example of another therapy technique to help conditioning, healing, all of those critical things that separate excellence from super excellence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think nowadays more than ever, the whether you're talking the absolute highest of any given sport, so your absolute professional down to the aspiring professional, be that a Pee Wee hockey player, high school hockey player, that line of perfection is so much finer nowadays.
Yeah.
And some may argue that a sauna could give you that edge. Obviously, it's many things beyond the sauna, your training regimen and how you're eating. But in the end, a sauna is a good thing.
Right. Could not agree more. So on that note, I got this bucket and everything is iced up really well, which is a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this outside and fill this up with water. So if you want to do a plunge of cold water,
sure,
you're more than welcome. There are these little buckets right here. And we'll get right back. Maybe we'll have a little chat in the changing room.
This show is brought to you by Sun Country Airlines. Sun Country is staffed by cheerful humans. And wherever Sun Country flies, they are competitive and keep the airfare honest. So whether I'm checking out Temescal in Tulum or the Archimedes Banya in San Francisco, Sun Country Airlines is the first and last place I go
for decent air travel. You work with sauna every day. You know, do you ever get tired thinking or talking about sauna?
You know, I don't, not really. I think sometimes I grow tired of seeing underperforming saunas
Right.
or poorly designed that, you know, I helped put together a good plan and design for it, and then it goes the wrong direction. That's I think
I could
maybe more frustrating
Yeah.
than anything. Not necessarily tired of it, but
you know, Scott, you're a politically correct kind of guy. I could see you never flying off the handle and chewing out some contractor or health club owner for not listening to you, but maybe you do that in your sleep, huh?
perhaps, or just take a sauna and forget about it.
Yeah. Hey, you can lead the horse to water.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, if a client called you saying, "Oh, I live by a Colorado stream, or I'm building a sauna for this wealthy individual, and they have this great land by a Colorado stream, or you know, on a northern lake, say," and the contractor says, "You know, I want the best sauna. I want you to design it, and I'm going to do it. Money's no object." Paint a little picture for us listeners here about what that sauna would look like, and how you would outfit it, and what sort of details, Scott special details, you would incorporate.
Well, I think you know, I like to keep things pretty. You know, it's not necessarily necessary to go overboard,
Right.
but if you're in a place, you said in the mountains on a river.
Yeah, sure. Like a mountain stream, or I mean,
Sure.
I think you know, the hypothetical. I threw the hypothetical out because you'd have to say that a sauna by water is a critical, not a critical thing, but it's helps accentuate the optimal.
Yeah, there's I would say nothing better, and you know yourself, and fly that flag day in, day out. You know, the cabin up north, cabin sauna on the lake. I think there's nothing better than a sauna near water. Particularly a lake is most ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the design, you know, I would point them to expanding beyond the sauna. So there's the sauna. I would tend to lean towards a structure that has minimum 2 rooms, preferably 3. Depending on how you want to do it, but I think 3 rooms would be ideal. You have your sauna or hot room. You have another room that is dedicated for the bathing portion. So if you have a shower, or you know, if you go to most cabin saunas in Finland, they're going to have a separate washroom, unless
Usually tiled floor.
not necessarily, but
Okay.
that would be easier to maintain. And then the third room would be your changing room, or just kind of a in between the outdoor elements, and a place for people to just relax and hang out.
Right on. What size hot room would you design?
I would say, you know, right in your alley, in that 6x8 to 8x8 range. If we're talking wood, I mean, that's the direction I would push.
Yep.
I guess, you know, if you do go bigger, in that 8x8 range, I would maybe even consider doing triple tier benching.
Oh, nice. Now, there's no way to do triple tier benching with a 7-foot ceiling, is there?
No.
Right.
I suppose you could, but it probably wouldn't be very functional.
Right.
But in that case, if you have space and in unique circumstances, and you have a wood stove, a higher ceiling can be done and done correctly, but you have to bring your benches up. And in bringing those benches up, that's why you would add that third tier, so you can get up to the higher bench without, you know.
Yes, I know a lot of commercial Russian banyas. They're big on, like, I mean, you're looking at like a cube. The thing is, the Russian, I've been in a couple of them, and they're taller than they are, you know, wide. And you're dealing with multiple benches. I mean, the one I was in, the one that comes to mind is Archimedes Banya in San Francisco. You walk in and it's almost like a compressed movie theater, where if you're up top, you look literally down at the door and says someone's coming in, and you're walking up multiple layers, which is in essence a wonderful commercial setup, because you're appealing to multiple temperatures, people that enjoy multiple different temperature zones. And obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but the top level is like a platform with benches kind of around in a U-shaped type deal, and that's generally where most people hang out. But they're not laying up short if you're in a lower bench, as you know, climbing.
Right.
Yeah. Have you been in a banya like that?
Not a banya. In Finland, there's such a variety of saunas, and I'm trying to remember what, in the city that I was in, the swim hall, they had a similar setup. They had a huge wood-burning stove, and I forget the terminology they use for it, but it's something that you wouldn't see typically, but it was as tall, if not taller than me, massive amount of rock, heated all day long before you would use it, and
heated by wood or gas?
Wood.
Okay.
And it had to be, I want to say, 5 to 6 tiers. And when you ladled water on those rocks, it was intense. It was quite a build-up. And right outside that sauna, they had a nice cold plunge.
Totally. Okay, so back to the hypothetical. I see you're shivering a little bit.
Yes.
You want to go back in, don't
Yes.
you? Okay, I'm going to bring in the microphone. We're going to ask a few more questions, and we're in good shape. Okay, so you lead the pack. I'll follow in, and I guess the next question I have is along the lines of this optimal sauna that we're speaking about, and this is a leading question, and I actually have a pretty good idea of the answer. But okay, so the hypothetical is this kick-ass ultimate sauna. We're talking a separate structure, okay? And I'm thinking you're talking about a 12 by 16 at minimum size building. It's its own building, right? Mm-hmm. And you're talking about a 6 by 8, 7 by 8, whatever, something in there, like a 50 square foot, probably hot room. Mm-hmm. And then you have a shower, like you described, call that second room, and then the changing room or hangout room. You're going to have a really nice deck, and you're going to have access to nature and the lake. And if you were to put a dollar sign against this, like how much would this cost? Because it's a leading question. I mean, I've built something like this for a friend of mine, so it's not like something that I'm completely in the dark of. And I have a number in my head, Scott, but I'm curious. If you got this call tomorrow from a client, contractor, what have you, and then he says, how much would this cost? What would you guess?
If you're starting from nothing,
From
absolutely
ground.
nothing.
Yeah.
I would say, in that 20 to 30 range.
Bingo. That's exactly my number. Yeah.
I mean, depending, what you want, how,
Yep.
Do you want to cut a corner here or add this here? And
yeah,
I mean,
not-
you could
not
go
even-
beyond that, but
Yeah, I mean, 20 grand would get you there.
Right.
30 grand would get you there with a lot of bells and whistles.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think if you had, on the low side of that, if somebody already had an existing structure, not
Right.
necessarily a sauna, but an existing structure on their property, hopefully near the water, so you don't have to break any building codes.
Right.
You could do it for less than that.
Yep. Quite a bit less. I guess the reason why I was going down that line of thinking is, hey, life is short. We all understand, or many more people are understanding the wonderful benefits to sauna. I mean, not just the obvious, but the decompression, the getting away from the busy life, those I call them maybe second tier benefits beyond the obvious physical benefits and health and wellness and that. And the third element is it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great social thing. It adds so much value to your property. I call sauna a wonderful insurance policy for bad weather. The worse the weather, the better the sauna.
Exactly.
It's a community building thing. So you come up with a long list of benefits of having I call it a kick-ass sauna, where you'd have this separate structure of multiple zones, great function. Well, I mean, it's the price of a car. I mean, what's the big deal?
And I would argue to many that if you do a lakeside sauna, or be that a streamside sauna, or there's I think plenty of people in Minnesota that maybe don't have the luxury of a lake place, but there's a lot of guys that have hunting property. And maybe is not near a lake or a stream. You could do a wonderful structure that is multi-purpose. It is not only a sauna is part of it, as well as a washing area, but that room that I had mentioned was your changing room or hangout space. You could expand that, make that larger, and add a couple bunks.
Totally.
And you have an all-in-one building that, as a lot of the Finnish people, when they came to America, that was their first structure was the sauna.
Right.
And they used it for multiple things beyond the bathing. But I think that would be a great starting point for any lake property, or hunting camp property, or if it was you just wanted something to get you started, that would be, in my opinion, the direction I would go.
No doubt. That is the direction we went. We bought land on an island, Pine Island, northern Minnesota, Lake Vermilion, and the first thing we did is build a 12 by 16 sauna / guest cabin, and we lived in that cabin. And above the hot room is a loft, a purely, totally functional sleeping space. And we built that in 1996. That was actually the winter of the continental U.S. record cold, February 4th, 1996, minus 60 degrees. And 2-3 months later, we were out there with 4 sticks and carpenter string marking off the build of our sauna. And I said to myself, this structure is critical, because if we go up there in winter and we're skiing across the lake to get to our cabin and we hit slush, or it's windy and it's cold, and we get to the island and the power's out or whatever, we are in critical mode. So the idea that we could get that sauna going and warm up, and if it's 60 below that night, we could be sleeping above the hot room, and we've done this. I've been toasty warm, and couldn't be more pleased with the what we call the sauna guest cabin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's a good gig, and it's a very functional gig, very critical to the survival to have a sauna that works. And a good friend of mine who lives on the lake, who was born on the lake, spent all his time on the lake, and he says that you never lock your sauna at your cabin. You always leave that open, and you always have a good amount of dry wood, some birch bark, some matches. Because it's good karma. I mean, you know, people are out there running into trouble on their snowmobiles or lost or whatever. It's just kind of a wonderful thing to know and see, you know, saunas dotted on a shoreline and know that those are safe havens for survival.
Right. No, I think that's the way to do it.
I'm curious if life is like that on Finland lakes too. If people do the same thing with sauna and survival and.
Yeah, I guess I couldn't answer the question on if people lock them or not. But knowing Finns, and they're all pretty trustworthy bunch, I would imagine that you know, they're there if needed, and the locking part I don't think would be a big part of
right
or a concern.
So think about it like that too. Let's say, and this is a tip for all you listeners that do have sauna cabins or rural cabins, is get a couple of those airplane-sized vodka bottles and leave them in the sauna as well, next to the matches, and say, enjoy, compliments of the sauna owner. And I think the odds that someone will break in your cabin will go down mightily if you offer that to them.
Sure. They might come back though every year.
That's right. Just see if it's replenished.
Right.
That's good. I got a couple rapid fire questions that come to mind, just for what it's worth. And I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm just going to shoot from the hip there and say, let's just say you owned a mobile sauna and you could bring it anywhere in the world, anywhere, and take a sauna. Where would you bring it and why?
I think just because I lived there and I did not get to have my friends experience a sauna to the nth degree, would be bring one down to Southern California on the beach. Just part of me, just for the people would be like, what are you doing factor. I'm sure we'd be shut down in a hurry if there's smoke piping out of it, but it'd be fun to try. And get the sauna swim right on the shore of the ocean, and let my good friends in California experience that. I did have a small, it was a 4x4 sauna in my garage when I lived there, and it just wasn't the full. I mean, we'd run and sprint to the pool in the community. The neighbors thought were kind of weird, like, why are they running back and forth? But I think there's something to be said about bringing a mobile sauna to an area where it's least expected. You know, I think the other part of me, or the easy place, would be, you know, anywhere in northern Minnesota on a lake, but everybody's up there has seen one, so it really wouldn't be a wow factor.
Nice. And the nice thing about Southern California is it's a good water temp. The Pacific is cool.
Yes.
It would be a nice cold plunge.
Yeah. I mean, the salt is something to get used to, but I think it'd be a unique experience. How about yourself, Glenn?
Boy,
I mean, you've brought mobile saunas to quite a few places already, but
I have, and you touched upon something that is noteworthy and significant. Is if one were to have a mobile sauna, I think part of the excitement would be to bring it somewhere unexpected. And just a quick sideline on that. I mean, I think that's one of the wonderful elements that we're seeing, right in our backyard here in Minneapolis with the 612 Sauna Society, and the work of John Pedersen, and what he's done about mobilizing a community that is interested in sauna. Number one is remarkable, but he does the dirty work. Molly and Andrea's Little Box Sauna is a wonderful thing. It's completely mobile, and JP does the dirty work. He's done a wonderful job of saunameister work, and I used to do that. I mean, I'd bring my sauna around to polar plunges and cross country ski festivals and all kinds of crazy places, and I love what you just referenced is the unexpected, and you get that with a mobile sauna, and JP is living this daily, probably as we speak right now. I think the Little Box Sauna is deployed at Nicollet and 38th in South Minneapolis, quite an urban location, and hats off to the 612 Sauna Society. I mean, they're offering free saunas to people that live within a mile of there, and hey, it's minus 2 degrees right now in Minneapolis, and it's kind of a warm feeling to know right at this minute there's probably 8 people in a hot room, and maybe only like 3 or 4 know each other.
Yeah, I have not met JP in person. But what the 612 Sauna Society has built in terms of a following and just what they have done for sauna is quite remarkable. I think going back to kind of the beginning of our conversation where I had said I grew up with sauna, so going and hanging out with somewhat of strangers in Cokato for sauna is kind of a normal thing for me, but I forget that not everybody gets that experience, and JP and his crew has brought that to life outside of, I would say, the Finnish American community. I think the Finnish Americans really enjoy their sauna, but they maybe don't share it as much, and JP I think is doing a great job making that happen.
Amen. So to answer your question, I've been scheming on Mobile Sauna 2.0 for a bunch of years, and the more I scheme on it, and every year that goes by is when I get further from actually doing it. But I do have a vision for a kick-ass mobile sauna, and I'll explain it in very brief terms. Is it should be built on a fish house chassis, one that allows for the wheels to tuck up and under. So to me, a critical thing is being able to walk out of the hot room into a changing room to the outside with one step. So there isn't this vertical hardship, so to speak, where you're on a trailer. I love the idea that a sauna can be on grade, because I believe in the zones. I believe in the hot room, the changing room, and relishing in the outdoor. And the cool thing about a sauna that is mobile of that nature is you could tuck that right up to wherever you want to be, included in that. So to answer your question, I imagine a sauna like this, or maybe a collection of a couple mobile saunas, all that are sistered up to a big tent, like a 20 by 30 foot tent on Lake Calhoun, with a rectangular cold plunge in the lake. And half of the cold plunge is in the tent, the other half to the outside. So you come out of the hot room, and you are in the changing room, and the door is open, and you step into a tent, with a big tent, with an ice bar and nice mugs and a great sound system, and you cold plunge, going underneath and up, and then you're outside in nature with an outdoor fire pit maybe. So that's my dream.
Yeah.
Of a mobile sauna.
I like the chassis concept. I think that that's important, and then I would envision, I'm not a ice fisherman myself, but I would envision that the majority of the trailer or ice houses that are on wheels are somewhat built for lightness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not making them overly heavy.
Yes.
And I think that's likely an important part of mobile sauna, a true mobile sauna, to, you know, be able to pick it up and go. And
bingo. In conjunction with that, they have insulation figured out well. They meaning the ice house builders.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm collaborating actually with a guy who's a DIY enthusiast. I mean, he's a DIY ice house builder out in Savage, Minnesota. Custom Cottages by name, Eric Bongard. I've been to his place a few times. He's totally on the page. So, you know, hey, it's like anything, money, you know. But I think I'll get there one day with this mobile sauna concept.
Kickstarter.
Maybe it's a Kickstarter. Yeah, I mean, I've done that, and I know how to build a Kickstarter. So I appreciate that. And the thing that also is so wonderful about JP and what he's done is about inclusion, and that's what I didn't have when I was running around 10 or so years ago with my mobile sauna. I was a one-man band, and I really value collaboration. And so on that note, I would like to welcome you to this mobile sauna concept, and maybe between JP, yourself, me, we could get a team of collaborators for something like this.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah. So, okay, so we got that question going, right?
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was good. Okay, I got another rapid fire, and that would be, if you could take a sauna with anybody in the world, dead or alive, past or present, who would you choose and why?
Huh. That's a good question there, Glenn.
We could want to come back to that one?
No, I think I know. It'd be for personal reasons. But yeah, it'd be my grandfather. He passed unexpectedly, and I think it'd be, you know, obviously it could never happen, but I think a great experience to just, I don't know, a send-off in some shape or form.
Beautiful. Yeah. When you think about the sauna experience, you know, a sauna session, say, you know, we can talk about multiple rounds. I think you and I have shared, you know, the value of taking maybe you like 3 sauna rounds?
Yeah, I mean, I think 3's pretty much the standard for me. I think a lot of people, I think in my younger years, I probably went a lot more, and, you know, I think it depends on the situation. You know, if you're up on Lake Superior, sometimes Lake Superior is never warm enough, so sometimes you're taking a sauna all day long to go back and forth to enjoy the lake, even in the summertime, if it doesn't warm up enough.
So as you think about an entire sauna session, like, is there a moment within a session that speaks to you most, like that you, you know, even the looking forward to sauna, like, you know, you're I'm gonna go over sauna with my friends, and or I'm gonna fire up my sauna, and the anticipation to the, you know, entering the hot room for the first round, the cool downs, you know, throughout the whole process of a sauna session, is there a favorite moment for you? And if so, you know, what would come to mind as a great moment?
Yeah, I think another good question. I think that no right or wrong answer with it either. You know, the easy out in me says, you know, the entire process. But for some reason, I'd say it would be a battle between the beginning and the end.
I like that.
I think, particularly, and I've never, unfortunately, owned my own wood-burning sauna up to this point. I've had the luxury of using many relatives, uncles, and whatnot, friends. But I think there's a lot to be said in that preparation phase, particularly when you have a wood-burning sauna heater.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if you're totally in, like you split that wood and you did this to that wood, so there's a process even leading up to that lighting, and that waiting, that anticipation, I think is is an important part. It's easily overcast nowadays in our busy society. Like, you know, a lot of these questions I get from customers as well. How quickly does it warm up? Well, it's not about that. I mean, yeah, we can get you a heater that's ready to go right away, but
Well done. I like that.
so I would say that, and then the end, just kind of take it all in.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. And you know, philosophically speaking, there's that wonderful expression, you know, it's the journey, not the destination. And I find when I'm up north taking a sauna, it's a magical time to say, okay. I mean, the sauna doesn't begin when I step in the hot room. The sauna begins when, you know, I may be tinkering around and splitting a few sticks of firewood and.
Yeah, I think the tinkering is a good word. I mean, when I think back to you know, really any of the wood burning sauna experiences, a lot of tinkering.
Yeah.
You know, tweaking this and that. Whether it's, you know, getting to know the stove better. You know, how does this one work? What do I want to do here? How do I want to stack, you know, put the wood in, or, you know, what wood should I use? What do I have here? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or just little tweaks depending on what sort of sauna company you're having. You know,
Right.
How am I going to prep? You know, do I have enough towels here, or, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, to that point, like I manage the amount of wood I use by how many people are showing up. With an extra body, it's an extra stick of wood because the door's going to open and close that many more times, and there's, you know, more flow going on and more heat needed. So what's the one thing about sauna do you think that is maybe misunderstood that you'd like others to know? That, you know, as you think about sauna and trying, you know, like, is there a broken record in your work that you try to dispel, like misconceptions of anything with sauna?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, in America especially, there's a lot of misconceptions. You know, there's the just that's weird misconception, like to go sweat with other people.
And the nudity thing.
Right.
And then when you throw a Vita in the equation,
right.
you know, then fins are easily made fun of. You're going to go, you're going to sweat, you're going to be one of those, and you beat each other with sticks.
Right.
I mean, come on, you know.
So yeah, I mean, I think I've heard it all, and I don't. It doesn't really bother me or offend me at this point. I just feel, you know, sorry for those people that just don't get to understand it.
Yeah.
I guess more saunas for us then.
Well, you know, to that point, I have to say, I'll draw a crazy analogy to music, right? It's sort of like you have this great band that you really love, and when the band comes to town or whatever, where you go see the band, you're amongst kindred spirits in a small venue, right? And you relish that, right? If that band becomes like Coldplay and all of a sudden you're one of 20,000 at Target Center, you have to admit that some of that identity is going to be lost with that band. And so I personally love where authentic sauna sits in North America in terms of popularity, because it's connected, for me personally, it's connected me with wonderful people 100%. And I value that. And it's not everybody. So, you know, if this thing becomes like yoga and, you know, you got everybody walking around with a sauna towel, you know, it's going to feel like Coldplay at Target Center for me. And I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think something like sauna that can happen. I mean, it's been around for how many years?
Yeah.
I mean, thousands.
Centuries. Yeah.
And I mean, I think there will always be the whole fad thing will pop up here and there with sauna, but I don't think that it will be, that authentic portion of it will be lost.
Well, you could say that the cold play of sauna is infrared.
I think so.
And it's bringing the idea of going into a cedar-lined room with heat of some capacity. You know, it's bringing that concept to the masses like it's never before.
Right.
And wouldn't you say that infrared is a fairly new phenomenon in the world?
Yep. I'd say 10 to 20.
10 to 20 years?
Yeah. I mean, you could maybe venture to say, if you go to Asia beyond, maybe more than 20, but it's very new when you compare it to authentic sauna or traditional sauna.
Right on. Hey, and if 100 people get an infrared and maybe 2 or 10 graduate to what we call authentic, I think it'll do nothing then except advance the the awareness of the authentic.
Right.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah. I think that me personally, I think that an infrared user or buyer today, there's a good chance they maybe never would have bought a traditional sauna.
Agreed.
So I think you bring up a good point there that potentially it could lead to full on traditional use.
Yeah. How's business for you? How long have you been doing this gig, or how long have you been working for Tylo Helo, your family company, or been involved?
Must be going on to 4 years.
Oh, okay. But you've been involved.
But prior to working for Tylo Helo, I worked for Saunas.com out in California, and I was there for 5 years selling a wide variety of brands across the board.
In your time, have you seen a growth, like more sales, more awareness, more interest?
Yeah, I mean, when you're selling them, it's hard to. I mean, people are always buying, so
yeah.
I think there's a growth, yes, and there's definitely room to grow. So much room, especially in North America.
Yeah. Commercially and home. I'm sensing.
Yeah. I think in both fronts. I think a lot of saunas on the commercial side are, it's a mix of new and refurb. A commercial sauna typically, I'd say 10 years is a good life. Unfortunately, some people don't clean them properly, and they deteriorate a lot quicker than that.
Yeah. What advice do you have for cleaning a sauna, either a commercial or a home sauna, to extend the life of a sauna?
Pretty easy stuff, and I'm sure you have it dialed in, but just warm water and a mild detergent.
You brought over this wonderful stuff. A little dab will do you in a warm bucket of water.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact,
is it the Sauna Clean?
Yeah. And do you guys sell that stuff?
Yeah, we sell that. Great product, comes from Finland.
I'm holding a 1 liter white bottle in my hand, and I'm sad to report it's frozen. This is a bad statement to you right now, but it's about half fill.
It'll probably still work.
Yes, and Sauna Clean, just a little dab into a warm bucket of water.
Yep. And then I always like to use a brush. Just brush down the benches, and then I usually keep, like you always have like an old towel, something stained, some old T-shirts that you don't mind getting stained to follow up to wipe whatever you irritate out of the wood away and wick it away.
So that would be like an old dry towel.
Yep.
So you would have this warm bucket with a little sauna clean there, and it's a very mild, soapy, non-abrasive,
Right.
nice smelling. Brush that on, wipe it off with a towel.
Yep.
You are shivering, my man.
I know.
You want to go in again?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait out
I
here.
got to get on your Wim Hof program.
Well, okay, that guy is onto something about mind control. I mean, if you listen to the core of your body instead of the skin, you'll understand, I think, even right now, that you're not cold.
Right.
But you got it in your head. You were shivering like a little girl.
Right, yeah.
No, that's good. All right, you know what? I think
I was in California too long, I think.
You know, that does it.
Yeah.
That absolutely does it. It's so hard to go back. Like, I was in Mexico for 10 days. I'll tell you about Temazcal in a little bit. It's so wonderful how, when you think about 2 centuries-old cultural traditions in different continents evolved, both with sweat therapy. It's pretty remarkable. But anyway, the point is I got back from, I came back at a wrong time. I got back from Mexico, where the coldest it's got was 70 degrees, and then boom, we get hit with this cold plunge. Why don't you go in, and then I'll catch up. Listen, if we don't, if I hit edit here, I just want to thank Scott, and how do you pronounce your last name?
Raisanen.
Raisanen. I know how to spell it finally, but I didn't dare take a shot at pronouncing it.
Oh,
So
that's
thanks
all
for
right.
coming for Sauna Talk,
Thank you.
Scott. It was a
Thanks
real
a bunch.
pleasure.